So a couple hours ago, I saw this video pop up on my YouTube recommendations and decided to watch it. It seemed interesting. And man, did I resonate with almost everything she had to say in that video. You know, when I got started making YouTube videos back in late 2019, it was right before the pandemic, and I wanted to document my journey of starting a candle business. And right when the pandemic hit, I experienced a huge influx of subscribers, views, and subsequently that resulted in a lot more ad revenue from YouTube. So if you're not familiar with how YouTube works, you get paid by something called a CPM. So you get paid based on how many thousand views you get. You get a certain dollar amount and it's always fluctuating. So at the height of YouTube, with how crazy, you know, everything was during that time and the influx of views and also the type of content that I talk about. So because I talk about business things, that most of the time on most channels that talk about business, you know, making money online, finance channels, just that kind of typical genre, typically will bring in more money than, let's say, just a regular lifestyle kind of video. So that wasn't the reason why I got started with YouTube. I really got started with YouTube because I wanted to document my journey. And when I got monetized, I realized that I was able to have that be an exchange for my day job. So I worked a regular job. The pandemic hit, I got put on a 2-week, basically break or whatever they called it, layoff. That turned into 3 months, I believe. And at that point, I had gotten monetized on YouTube, but I was only making about $500 a month. But I saw it growing and decided not to return to work and be able to stay home, make YouTube videos, and work on my candle business full time. And from there, it just really exceeded in growth. And I've made videos before sharing my income, so I really have no problem talking about this. But I just thought it would be interesting to, share kind of what this looks like from my perspective and how I kind of almost anticipated this to happen. I mean, you never want it to happen, but when it comes to social media and things that you don't have control over, that is something that you have to take into consideration whenever you are looking to make money online in any way. That's why I've tried to diversify my income as much as possible. I have my own products, my own digital products that I sell, but my main focus is my candle business, and it's always been that. But because I was supplementing my regular day job income with YouTube, I did have to, make sure that I was putting up content and, giving YouTube the time of day. And I just really enjoy making content and being able to share all of this with you guys. And it was always really easy for me to share content because it was the day-to-day life of, being a candle business owner. And, when I got pregnant in January of 2023, I noticed a big drop in my views and in my overall YouTube revenue. And I wasn't sure if that was something that was because, okay, I'm not making, a lot of content, so that is probably the reason, or I was making less content than I was before. I was still putting out content, but a lot less than I was before. And at that point, Chris had taken over all of the production, so I was making more different content than I was, not as much hands-on as I was before. So, and that's just a part of the lifestyle change in my life. I understand the kind of content that everybody wants to see, and I do my best to try to bring that to my channel. But what's hard as somebody who is making content on YouTube is a lot of times you can get lost in trying to chase the metrics of everything. And it's more or less just trying to do better than you did before. So when you're putting out content and you're constantly seeing that video was performing less than the other videos, it can be really disappointing, and it can feel just like a constant chase that you're trying to chase. So over this past year, I have noticed a massive, dramatic decline. Not as much as the girl who talked about it in the video that I'm referencing, but hers was I think her peak was $10,000 a month on YouTube, and now she's making $200 a month. So That's like a crazy, crazy difference. But honestly, my numbers have been on the negative, or not negative, but like you get like a thumbs down, basically saying, you know, you're doing worse than you did a year ago at this time or last quarter or whatever it is. And I have been seeing constantly numbers in the, you know, giving like an arrow down or a thumbs down. And, you know, from a content creator standpoint, when you are building something and you see the peak and then it kind of slowly tapers off and starts to go down, 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 it's hard to not let that affect you, because you think to yourself, man, I did, you know, I had this many subscribers, or I had this many people, you know, commenting or whatever it is. And then you look at your income, and then you look at your income now. And again, this is something that I almost kind of predicted a long time ago. I would always make comments like, YouTube's not forever. I know YouTube's not forever. But what I meant by that was not like, oh, I'm going to stop doing YouTube if it's not making me money, because obviously I'm still going to be doing YouTube regardless of how much money I'm making from it, because I genuinely enjoy it. I love talking with you. I love sharing my journey. And that's the whole purpose of this channel. But I knew that I needed to figure out other ways to, you know, diversify my income, because when you're a business, like running a small business, like a candle business, and you're trying to live off of that, it's very challenging in the beginning. And I didn't want to have to go back to, you know, working a regular job if I could help it, if I could still find other ways to be able to supplement my income, to be able to work on my business full time. Because what I found is with YouTube, it's a lot of work. It's like a regular, like part-time, full-time job, depending on how many videos you're putting out and how much time you're spending on it. So I had found that it was this hard balance between, I'm making YouTube videos, I'm loving doing this, I'm sharing, I'm building up this community, and I'm able to teach others, which is something that I absolutely love doing so much and feel so fulfilled in that. But that is taking up time from me working on my candle business and growing my candle business. And I'm sure that if, you know, anybody that's working a job, you can think of YouTube as just being any other job. It's just, I'm here making videos and you're watching this right now. But when it comes to having to balance those, you know, it's been challenging for me to balance that. But now that I see, you know, the numbers have gone down crazy, and we're talking like, I'll pop up some numbers right here. So I think the most I ever earned from YouTube was like $5,500 in 1 month, which was like the most craziest thing in the whole world to me. And then I hovered between, I think like 4,000-ish for quite a while in like 2021. I can't remember all the numbers off the top of my head. But I think when I looked at the total yearly gross that I had earned was hovered between, I want to say around $40,000 to $45,000 a year on YouTube, just YouTube. And now this year, I don't know, I can look at the analytics of what it's going to be. I probably won't even hit 20 grand. Like, I want to say that that's probably around there. And you may be thinking, Erica, you're still making money. Like, why are you complaining? I'm not trying to complain. I'm just sharing the facts of how I view things so differently now. And the best part of all of this is that I am not feeling any kind of pressure with YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, you do feel some pressure when you're a content creator and you're putting out content that was doing really well, and then maybe it's not so much anymore. And you feel that pressure to kind of keep up with what you used to be doing. And it's this constant chase of trying to get to where you were before. And, you know, I just don't feel that way anymore. My candle business is doing really good, doing way better than YouTube, and honestly way better than YouTube ever did, pretty much. We're doing really well. And I also have my digital products that are doing really well. So for candle business owners, I have my digital products that I have for you guys. The Ultimate Candle Business Guide is doing really well. And I just know that I only can control things that I can control, and I can't control YouTube. I can't control, what they decide to pay me. My views aren't down that much from where they were, just a year or two ago, but the way that they are changing how they're paying content creators, and I've seen this across the board, not just with the video that I'm referencing, but also with other content creators talking about how things are just different now, and YouTube is paying different, and you can't rely on that as a reliable source of income. So again, that's something that I knew all along, and I knew that this time would come. But of course, anytime you significantly lose a part of your income coming in, that is something that's always, a bummer. But again, that's why with me being online and trying to make this all work, I've tried to diversify my income as much as possible. And I will leave some videos of all of my income. I think the first income I did was when I had around 25,000 subscribers, and I was making way more than I do now at 150,000 subscribers. So in case you're ever wondering what matters the most, there are different factors that matter the most, but really views matter way more than subscriber count ever will. So technically my ratio between subscriber count and views is pretty poor. But again, I understand that I got into YouTube during kind of the peak of everybody being home, watching YouTube, wanting to start a hobby or a business. And it was this crazy influx of, tons of content and tons of views. And there weren't a lot of candle YouTubers at the time. So I understand that played a huge role in kind of my rapid growth during that time. And it's just different now, and that's okay. And I have plans of changing up the content just a little bit, of not being so feeling like I have to do certain kinds of content. I don't even know how to explain that, but just, maybe doing some things out of the box a little bit sometimes, just some videos that you're like, oh, that's kind of different from what she would post. Maybe different kind of commentary on things that I want to talk about. Definitely a lot more podcast episodes. I love podcast episodes. And ultimately, this YouTube channel is a way for me to talk about things about business because I love talking about business. Yes, candle making is fun to talk about, but I would much rather talk about marketing than talking about wick size or testing candles. I would much rather talk about marketing. I'm so much more in the businessy side of things. And what I've noticed is that when I first got on YouTube, a lot of my content was more candle making than candle business because I didn't really know anything about running a business. I was just sharing a lot more of the candle making side of things because that's what I was currently focused on myself. And now I'm focused a lot on wholesale and expanding and growing the business. And that's what I like to share on my channel. I don't talk about, a lot of the beginner stuff as much as I used to, because that's just not really where I'm at in the moment in terms of the candle making side. But I love, and I could talk, all about business all the time. So my podcast is really that time to be able to share and talk about business, YouTube, anything that comes to mind, anything I want to share, tips, tricks, advice, things that I'm working on. You guys know that I love sharing, analytics, and just being really transparent with everything because I understand being in the beginning of running a candle business and not knowing what you're doing. And I really love being able to be more of that guide to show you, what does it look like 4 years down the line? What are the things that I'm learning now that I can tell you and really, help you out if I can. And that's really the focus of YouTube now. My focus of YouTube right now is not trying to put out the best thumbnails, put out the best, titles, focus on that, focus on, what is going to convert the best of the most the most views. Right now, YouTube for me is just going to be, what do I want to put out? What is something that I find interesting? What do I want to share with you? Because I've had a lot of you follow me since the beginning, and no matter what content I put out, you guys have been following me, and I so appreciate it so much. I have those of you that have been following me since the beginning, and you know who you are. You guys comment all the time, and I appreciate you so much. And it really is the best community here of just being able to share what we have going on, you know, in our lives and our businesses. And, you know, obviously I'm a mom now, so I like to bring that up and talk about that. And I know many of you can relate to that. So, you know, there's just so many different things. I'm changing, I'm figuring things out. There's so many changes that are going on. I think my son is waking up right now. You know, that's different, having to, you know, stop what I'm doing. Yeah, he's waking up. Having to stop what I'm doing and, you know, go take care of him. It's just life now. This is just life. So I wanted to share this update, just letting you know, YouTube has changed for me dramatically, like dramatically. And it's okay. It's a bummer, but it's okay. And you never know what's going to happen. It could go up a little bit in the future, but I'm just not going to chase anymore for it. I'm just going to do what I want to do, which is helping you, teaching you, and sharing my journey. And that's all that I can do. But with that, I'm going to end today's video right here. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Memory Box Candle Co. And I will see you in my next video.